The family group chat lit up at 6:14 p.m. I was making dinner when my phone buzzed 3 times in a row. I wiped my hands, picked it up, and saw a new message from my mom. 8 words that hit harder than anything she'd ever said to me. Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. For a full second, I just stared at it. Drama-free, meaning me. Before I could take a breath, I saw something worse. My sister tapped like on the message. She approved it. She agreed I shouldn't come. Then another message followed. Aunt Karen, probably for the best. My cousin. Yeah, let's just keep things calm. Not one person asked, why would you say that? Not one person said, this feels wrong. They all watched me get pushed out like I was the problem. My hand shook, but not from hurt, from clarity. If they wanted distance, they were about to get exactly that. I typed one message, calm, steady, and sharp. Great choice. Hope you're ready for everything that comes with that. I pressed send. Silence. Then the chat erupted. Cousin. What does that mean? My sister. Olivia, don't start. Mom. Honey, we didn't mean it like that. Mom again. Please call me. Immediately. Now they cared. Now they were nervous. Now there was drama. But I wasn't the one causing it. I put my phone down and took a deep breath. They wanted a wedding without me. They had no idea what that meant yet. My name is Olivia, and if you asked anyone in my family who I am, they'd probably say the same thing. She's the quiet one, the helper, the stable one. And that was true for most of my life. I was the daughter who showed up early, stayed late, and never caused trouble. The one who handled the boring tasks, the paperwork, the errands, the things no one else wanted to bother with. My sister, Lily, was the opposite. Loud, dramatic, high maintenance enough to drain a room in minutes, but somehow always treated like royalty. Mom adored her, protected her, excused everything she did. If Lily cried, the whole family jumped. If I cried, they said I was overreacting. Growing up, I learned something very quickly. Love in our house wasn't equal. It was earned. And I was always competing with someone who never had to try. But despite all of that, I kept helping. I kept supporting. I kept giving parts of myself away, hoping it would make things better. When Lily got engaged, I told myself, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this will bring us closer. I said yes to every request, every favor, every late night call about some new wedding crisis. And every time Mom said, "You're so good at handling things," I told myself it was worth it. I wanted a moment, just one, where my family looked at me and actually saw me. Instead, they told me not to come. Not because I did something wrong, but because Lily wanted her wedding perfect. And in their eyes, perfect never included me. But they didn't know it yet. Cutting me out of the wedding meant cutting out the one person holding everything together. Lily has always been the kind of person who expected the world to bend around her. Growing up, if she wanted something, she got it. If she caused a problem, someone else fixed it. If she made a mess, Mom covered for her every single time. And when she got engaged, that attitude tripled. Suddenly everything became dramatic. The ring wasn't big enough. The proposal wasn't romantic enough. The wedding needed to look like something from a magazine, even though neither she nor her fiancé Mark could afford any of it. So, of course, she turned to me. "Liv, can you help me pick vendors?" "Liv, you understand this stuff better than I do." "Liv, you're organized. Just handle it." And every time I helped, she acted like it was a favor she was doing me, not the other way around. Mom didn't help either. If Lily complained, Mom agreed. If Lily wanted something changed, Mom said, "Make it happen, Olivia. You're good at this." Not once did Lily say thank you. Not once did Mom say they appreciated my time. One afternoon, Lily even said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but try not to draw too much attention at the wedding. It's my day." I laughed it off, but it stung. I should have realized then that this wasn't a wedding I was helping with. It was a performance I was expected to support from backstage. And the more I helped, the more Lily acted like she didn't need me at all. The red flags were there. Bright, loud, impossible to miss. But when you want to believe your family cares, you learn to ignore warning signs. Until one day, they stop being warnings and become reality. The deeper we got into wedding planning, the clearer it became. Lily wasn't planning a wedding. She was building a fantasy and expecting me to hold it up. Every week there was a new crisis. One day it was the venue. Next week the dress wasn't special enough. Then the centerpieces looked cheap. Then the photographer didn't capture her best angles. And every time something went wrong, Lily didn't panic. She just turned to me. "Fix it, Olivia. You know what you're doing. Make it better." It didn't matter if I was tired. It didn't matter if I had work. It didn't matter if the problem came from her own choices. If she snapped her fingers, I was supposed to appear. Mom made it worse. Whenever Lily complained, Mom would sigh dramatically and say, "Olivia, just help your sister. She's under a lot of stress." Meanwhile, Lily acted like the world should stop spinning because she couldn't decide between ivory or pearl napkins. But what bothered me most wasn't the pressure, it was the disrespect. Lily would talk about the wedding in front of people like she was handling everything alone. She'd say things like, "I'm basically doing all the work." Or, "Planning is exhausting, but I'm managing." Everyone nodded, praising her, while I stood there silent, knowing I was the one running from vendor to vendor, solving every meltdown, cleaning up mess after mess. And somehow, the more I helped, the less I existed. Lily never thanked me. Mom never defended me. No one ever asked how I was doing. I wasn't a sister in their eyes. I was labor, and all of it was starting to feel like a mistake I was trapped in. One they would soon regret taking for granted. The closer we got to the wedding, the more I felt something shift. Lily wasn't just stressed. She was nervous around me, like my presence threatened her somehow. Mom became colder too. Short replies, quick sighs, little comments that felt sharper than they sounded. One evening, I overheard them talking in the kitchen during a family gathering. Lily whispered, "I don't want her stealing attention. She ruins everything." Mom said, "She doesn't mean to, but yes. Maybe it's better if she stays out of the way." I froze. Stealing attention? Me? I had spent months fixing their problems, organizing their chaos, bending my schedule around their demands, quietly, without complaint, because I thought I was helping. But in their minds, I wasn't helpful. I was a threat. The next week, Lily told people I was controlling the wedding. Then she said I made things stressful. Then she hinted that I liked drama. None of it was true, but the whispers spread fast. Suddenly relatives were looking at me differently, polite, but distant, as if they were waiting for me to explode at any moment. Mom didn't correct them. She let every rumor grow. That's when it hit me. They weren't pushing me out because I did something wrong. They were pushing me out because the wedding wasn't enough for Lily unless she stood alone, uncompared, unquestioned, unchallenged. And Mom always protected her version of perfect. I should have expected the message they finally sent in the group chat. It wasn't random. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't impulsive. It was planned. They wanted a wedding where I didn't exist. And they thought telling me not to come would be the end of it. They had no idea it was the beginning. After the group chat blew up, I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I didn't beg them to rethink their words. I just sat there, staring at the screen, feeling something inside me go still. Not broken. Clear. For the first time in months, maybe years, I saw my family exactly as they were, not as I hoped they might one day be. And I made a decision. If they didn't want me involved, I would step away from everything. Not in anger. Not in a dramatic scene. Just quietly. I started removing myself from tasks. The vendor messages. The group planning chats, the reminder lists, the schedules I used to manage. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I simply stopped doing the things they took for granted. When Lily asked me to fix something real quick, I replied. I'm not part of the wedding anymore. Remember? When Mom asked for a favor, I said, you said you wanted a drama-free wedding. I'm respecting that. Their replies grew tense. First confusion, then irritation, then guilt, although not the kind that leads to an apology, more like the kind that comes from losing control. Because without me, everything became harder for them. The timeline slipped. Small problems turned into bigger ones. People realized Lily wasn't the organized one after all. And while they scrambled to keep things together, I stayed quiet. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I didn't help. I simply let them experience life without the person they believed was unnecessary. They wanted distance. So I gave it to them. And they had no idea that the real consequences were still coming. It didn't take long for things to unravel. The moment I stepped back, the wedding started cracking in places Lily never noticed before because I had always been there to quietly fix them. First, the florist messaged Lily saying the order details were incomplete. Then the bakery needed final approval for the cake design, but no one had answered their emails in weeks. The photographer sent a reminder about scheduling the pre-wedding shoot, something Lily didn't even know needed to be booked. Every single problem had the same pattern. Olivia always handled this. Where is she? Who's doing it now? No one was. And Lily started panicking. She called me first. Olivia, can you please help? I'm overwhelmed. I reminded her of the message she liked in the family chat. You made it clear I shouldn't be involved. She went silent, then hung up. Next came Mom. Sweetheart, you know your sister gets anxious. Just step in for this one thing. This is what you wanted, I said. Wedding without me. She didn't have a reply. Soon, the problems got bigger. The venue needed updated paperwork. The decorator needed payments confirmed. The rehearsal schedule was wrong and half the bridal party couldn't make it. Chaos was growing, and Lily couldn't hide it anymore. Relatives began whispering, why is everything so disorganized? Didn't Olivia usually help with these things? Why isn't she involved this time? And for the first time, Lily wasn't the adored center of attention. She was the one people were quietly questioning. Meanwhile, I stayed calm, quiet, watching the cracks widen. They still thought the worst fallout was missing my presence. They had no clue what was really holding the wedding together, or what would happen when it all slipped out of their hands. By the end of the week, the cracks weren't cracks anymore. They were full disasters. Vendors were confused. Deadlines were missed. Nothing was running the way Lily imagined. And instead of taking responsibility, she did what she always did. She pointed the finger at me. She called late at night, her voice high and shaking. Olivia, everything is falling apart because you abandoned us. Abandoned. That was the word she chose. I listened quietly, then said, you told me not to come. I'm simply respecting what you wanted. She went silent, just breathing hard through the phone. The next morning, Mom added her voice. She called while I was at work, her tone sharp. Your sister is upset. You know she doesn't handle stress well. You stepping back makes it worse. I almost laughed. Makes it worse? Or makes it obvious who's been doing the real work? Mom didn't answer that. Instead, she snapped. Olivia, stop acting like a victim. This wedding is bigger than you. I felt something inside me click into place. I agree, I said. That's why you should have thought twice before telling me not to come. Hours later, the family group chat exploded again. Lily, why did you ditch us? And Karen, this isn't the time for pride. Mom, just come fix things, please. Finally, I replied, I'm not involved anymore. You all made that decision, remember? No yelling, no threats, just truth. The chat went completely still. They didn't understand yet. They thought the chaos was about effort. They still didn't realize it was about something much bigger, something they were about to feel very, very painfully. Because they didn't just push me out. They pushed out everything I brought with me. The call came on a Tuesday. I was at my desk when my phone rang nonstop. First, Lily. then Mom, then the venue. I let all three go to voicemail. 5 minutes later, my email pinged with a message from the venue manager. Your sister's wedding contract is incomplete. Payment authorization has been removed. Please resolve immediately. Payment authorization removed because it had been under my name. The venue wasn't the only one. By noon, the florist emailed. The card on file declined. Order paused. Then the cake designer. We can't proceed without confirmation from the paying party. Then the photographer. Your sister says she doesn't know who handled the deposit. Please advise. Every message pointed to the same truth. I had been the financial backbone of that wedding. Not because they asked politely. Not because they appreciated me. But because every time Mom said, "It's just a little help," she added it to my card, with my permission, under the lie of family responsibility. Months of quiet payments. Thousands of dollars. All tied to me. And the moment they told me not to come, I canceled everything. Legally. Calmly. Clean. When Lily finally reached me, she was screaming, "Olivia, the venue dropped us. They released the date. Why would you do this?" I stayed silent for a moment. Then I said, "You told me not to come. You didn't want me involved. That wasn't what I meant. What you meant," I said, "was that you wanted my work and my support. You just didn't want me." She broke. I heard it in her breath. Mom grabbed the phone next. "Fix this, Olivia. Please. We can't afford to lose everything." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered the group chat. The comments. The silence. "No," I said softly. "I'm done fixing things for people who don't want me around." And for the first time in their lives, they had to deal with the cost of cutting me out. After everything collapsed, the calls eventually stopped. Lily went silent. Mom went quiet. Even the relatives who had joined in earlier suddenly had nothing to say. For the first time in months, maybe years, my world felt calm. I didn't rush to fix anything. I didn't send long explanations. I didn't chase their approval. I just lived. I made dinner without checking my phone every 5 minutes. I walked around my apartment and felt the space actually belonged to me. I slept through the night without planning someone else's emergencies. 2 days later, my dad showed up at my door, not to argue, not to guilt me, but to sit with me. He handed me a small wrapped box and said, "I know what they did, and I'm sorry I didn't speak sooner." Inside was a simple bracelet with my initials engraved. "A reminder," he said, "that you don't need to shrink for anyone." I didn't cry. I just nodded and held it. The wedding didn't happen on the date they bragged about. They had to postpone everything. Vendors rebooked. Guests canceled. Money disappeared. And people started asking questions. Real ones. Questions Lily couldn't hide from, but I stayed out of it. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just moved on. Because sometimes the best revenge is peace. And sometimes the cleanest break is silence. My family wanted a drama-free wedding. In the end, they finally got one. I just wasn't the one causing the drama anymore.